Welcome to this explainer. Let me ask you something right off the bat. Are your profit margins feeling, well, a little thin lately? If so, you're definitely not alone. The 2026 e-commerce landscape is proving to be incredibly unforgiving, and the recent Amazon FBA fee changes, they are absolutely crushing seller margins. We are literally looking at a completely different ballgame now. The urgency here is very real, and just ignoring these changes is simply not an option if you want your business to actually stay profitable this year.
8 grand. Take a second to really think about that number. That is how much an average seller moving about $50,000 in monthly revenue is losing to FBA fees every single month right now. And honestly, in some cases, we're seeing that spike as high as $15,000. These aren't just minor overhead costs anymore, right? These are massive margin eaters that are siphoning your hard-earned cash directly back to Amazon. But hey, the good news is you can actually reduce these fees by 15 to 30% if you just understand the rules of this new game.
So why is that $8,000 number so insanely high? It really comes down to what we're calling the April 2026 triple cost squeeze. First up, we've got the new Fulfillment by Amazon, or FBA, fuel surcharges, which just slap a per-unit cost straight onto standard fulfillment. Second, the inbound placement fee increases, which essentially penalize you for not splitting up your shipments. And third, and this is the real silent killer we're targeting today, the brand new low inventory level fee. This triple squeeze is exactly why your top-line revenue might be growing, but your actual take-home profit is shrinking right before your eyes.
All right, let's dive into part 1, the threat. We really need to decode this new low inventory fee.
Why did Amazon actually roll this out? And more importantly, what triggers it? To really get this, you need to deeply understand Amazon's specific metric here, historical days of supply. Now, this is a backward-looking metric. It compares your average daily inventory against your average daily shipped units, and it calculates this specifically at the FNSKU level, so your unique product barcode. Basically, it measures your past inventory performance. It completely ignores what you might have sitting in a shipping container out on the ocean right now. It literally only cares about what is actively in Amazon's network.
And here is the magic, or maybe tragic number, 28 days. This is the absolute critical threshold. Amazon brought this fee in because when you carry low inventory relative to your unit sales, it really messes with their ability to distribute products efficiently across their fulfillment network, which, you guessed it, slows down Prime delivery speeds. If your historical days of supply drops below 28 days, meaning you effectively have less than 4 weeks of inventory on hand, you are officially entering the danger zone for this dreaded fee.
This setup brilliantly illustrates the trap you can fall into. It's essentially a matrix based on your short-term, meaning the last 30 days, and long-term, meaning the last 90 days, historical supply. The kicker here is that the fee only applies if both your short-term and long-term historical days of supply dip below that 28-day mark. Think about it. If your short-term dips below but your long-term is safely above 28, no fee. If your long-term is below but your short-term is above, again, no fee. You only get slapped with the penalty if you are consistently running lean on both timelines. So actually, a sudden, unexpected spike in sales that drains your inventory for a week won't trigger the fee, just as long as your 90-day average was healthy.
So how does this actually translate into real painful costs? Let's break it down with a concrete example for a small standard item. Think something weighing 10 ounces or less. If your historical supply drops between 21 and 28 days, Amazon tags an extra 32 cents on your fulfillment fee per unit. Drop between 14 and 21 days, that jumps to 63 cents. Fall below 14 days, you are paying an 89-cent penalty on every single unit shipped. And if you happen to sell larger items, the penalty is even steeper. We're talking over $2 per unit for bulky items. When you're dealing with products where net margins are hovering around 10 to 20%, these fees will literally eat your profitability alive before you even realize what's happening. But hey, do not panic because there is a definitive, heavily data-backed strategy to bypass these fees completely.
Okay, enough doom and gloom. Let's get into part 2, the solution, the AWD cheat code. There is a really stark contrast between standard operations right now and the strategy you need for 2026. With standard FBA today, you are facing high inbound placement fees and that constantly looming low inventory risk. But if you pivot to using Amazon Warehousing and Distribution, or AWD, which is Amazon's upstream bulk storage solution, and you turn on their auto-replenish feature, you pay 0 inbound placement fees. 0. Plus, you become entirely exempt from the low inventory fee. It acts as a total operational shield for your entire business. So how exactly does this golden exemption actually work?
Well, it all comes down to the 70% rule. If you have a SKU where 70% or more of its inventory is auto-replenished into FBA through AWD over the prior 90 days, Amazon basically considers that product handled. Because their own program is the one managing the replenishment and shifting the stock around on your behalf, you are fully exempt from the low inventory fee on that specific SKU. And that's completely regardless of what your days of supply metric drops to. You've essentially outsourced all that liability straight back to Amazon.
And honestly, it gets even better. There's a massive secondary benefit here. Storing your bulk inventory in AWD actually costs significantly less than standard FBA. AWD storage sits at just 48 cents per cubic foot, whereas standard FBA storage from January to September is going to run you 78 cents per cubic foot. So by using AWD, you aren't just dodging the low inventory penalties and wiping out placement fees, you're actually actively slashing your base storage costs by nearly 40%.
All right, let's bring it home with Section 3, your Margin Protection Roadmap.
Let's pull all of this together into a concrete action plan. Here's exactly what you need to start doing today to claw back your profits. Based on the source data, we've laid out a 90-day implementation roadmap. Step 1, immediately switch your inbound settings to minimal shipment splits. Yes, you will have to ship to 3 or 4 warehouses instead of just one, but it saves you anywhere from 30 to 89 cents per unit instantly, compared to Amazon-optimized shipments. Step 2, liquidated aged inventory that's been sitting over 240 days. Why 240? Because once inventory hits 271 days, age surcharges kick in, and over 365 days, you're paying an astronomical $6.90 per cubic foot. It is infinitely better to just pay a small removal fee right now. Finally, Step 3. Identify your top-selling SKUs, the ones moving more than 100 units a month, and enroll them into AWD auto-replenishment. That knocks out those placement fees, lowers your storage costs, and makes you perfectly exempt from the low inventory level fee.
We have covered a ton of critical ground in this explainer today, but the choice moving forward is crystal clear. Are you going to let the 2026 fees bleed your margins dry, or will you take control of your logistics today? You've got the data, you have the roadmap, and now you know exactly how these new Amazon metrics actually function behind the scenes. So go out there, start optimizing your inbound strategy, and put AWD to work for your business right away. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time as we keep unpacking the strategies you need to master your world.